The Savannah Zone Agricultural Productivity Improvement Project (SAPIP) is a project implemented by the Ministry of Food and Agriculture (Mofa) and financed by the African Development Bank (AFDB) with the overall objective to transform agricultural value chains for food and nutrition security, job and wealth creation within the Savannah Zone. The specific objectives are to increase farmers' food and nutrition security, increase incomes through increased agricultural productivity and diversification, enhance the creation and strengthening of agribusinesses to increase incomes of actors along selected value chains on a sustainable basis. The project is productivity-oriented, provides an incentive framework for private sector operators and agricultural businesses in northern Ghana, thus embracing the agricultural value chains approach. The design of SAPIP is guided by the Ghana Shared Growth and Development Agenda GSGDA2 2014 to 2017 and the Coordinated Program for Economic and Social Development Policy.
The project is well aligned to the food and agri sector development policy. It is well linked to government flagship program, Planting for Food and Jobs. It is also well aligned to One Village, One Dam, and also aligned to One District, One Warehouse.
The project is implemented in northern Ghana, in Savannah, northeast and the upper east regions. Specific districts include Savelugu, Nantong, Tolong, Kumbung, West Gonja, West Mamprushi and Busa South. However, the technologies for African agricultural transformation in the savannas, TART-S, which seeks to promote the production of maize and soya in commercial quantities using conservation agriculture, is implemented anywhere in the northern Savannah ecological zone of Ghana. The project has four main components, namely crop productivity improvement, value chain and agribusiness development, infrastructure development, project coordination, management and monitoring and evaluation. The African Development Bank's Feed Africa strategy has identified the need to unlock the potentials of Africa's Guinea savanna, a landmass of 400 million hectares which stretches across 25 countries from Senegal, West Africa to Angola and Mozambique in southern Africa, and supports the livelihoods of 239 million people. The technologies for African agricultural transformation in the savannah, TART-S, which SAPIP has at the core of its implementation, is to orchestrate and facilitate the dialogue between public institutions, private investors, research and technology providers, technical assistance partners, or providers of tropical agricultural technology, and other relevant actors in 8 regional member countries with large expanses of savannas.
The President of the African Development Bank has made it clear that it is time Africa feed itself. And the Feed Africa strategy is aimed at helping our regional member countries, Ghana leading the way, to feed ourselves. And we have what it takes to reverse the trend of importation and to grow enough to feed ourselves.
As a country, our productivity levels by smallholders are very, very low. Looking at this particular challenge, the ministry as a whole is implementing programs, projects, and other initiatives that seek to address this particular challenge. SAPIP is anchored on Planting for Food and Jobs. And one of the components is also to look at productivity levels.
The bane of underperformance of agriculture is just the low yields, because many farmers either cannot afford or we haven't demonstrated enough that the use of the complementary inputs of seeds and fertilizers will make the trade and get increased yields.
The commodities of SAPIP include maize, soybean, rice and vegetables. An estimated 50,000 direct beneficiaries are expected to be reached and 250,000 farmers supported nationwide through the input subsidy program of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. About 50% of the beneficiaries to be specifically targeted will be women and the youth. As part of the project implementation strategy, SAPIP employs climate-smart technology under the African Development Bank's Feed African strategy known as the Technologies for African Agricultural Transformation in the Savannah, TAT-S.
As you may be aware, the Savannah area is drier. It also has unimodal rainfall. The south is better because they have double rainfall. The north is also becoming, in terms of soil fertility, poorer. Why? Because of poor soil management practices. And conservation agriculture is one of those strategies that can use to improve soil fertility.
It becomes a mirage when you have all these climatic variabilities vis-a-vis the fact that farmers will have to plan and ensure increase in productivity. The project is planting some trees around the water bodies and some irrigation schemes to ensure that farmers don't farm so close. This will prevent water pollution, the fact that they use agrochemicals to spray on their crops that will be washed in. This will also stop siltation in the schemes. Therefore, tree planting is ongoing in all the commercial fields, which the project has deliberately cultivated to increase production of soya and maize in particular, to be able to feed the poultry feed industry.
To be able to increase productivity, you need a lot of inputs. Quality inputs with respect to seed, with respect to fertilizer, with respect to other agrochemicals for weed control and also pest control. And in terms of machinery, you also require entire chain, the production chain, and the machines that are required to be able to do commercial agriculture. We're looking at land development. Here, we're looking at even dozers to be able to stomp the fields. You need plows to be able to plow. You need harrows. You even need rotavators that can actually level your field for operations. You need planters. You need boom sprayers for weed control and also for pesticides control. And you need harvesters. And even going beyond harvesting, you need warehouses and others.
Beyond identifying and doing what was needed for improved crop productivity, SAPIP ensured that all these were in place for farmers who were lucky enough to start the pilot. The Argentine Association of No-Till Farmers, known as APRESID, was brought in by the African Development Bank to share experiences and to transfer knowledge in the practice of large-scale conservation agriculture.
We have learned a lot in terms of the challenges and the experiences, and we are building upon that to have a very, very successful pilot.
SAPIP kicked off its pilot with 4 commercial farmers in the 2018 cropping season, cultivating 87 hectares of maize and soya.
As we started last year, the idea was just to pilot with APRESID. We had only 4 farmers. In 2019, we managed to have 12 host farmers to do the upscaling to see how easy or difficult it's going to be. Now we have mastered the whole production system, and we know this is something that can be upscaled further.
The result in 2019 with these 12 farmers is the cultivation of 1,341 hectares, with 1,011 hectares being maize and 330 hectares being soy.
When we started off, it was very difficult to get a farm of a minimum of 100 hectares, that's 250 acres. But working out with the existing indigenous commercial farmer, I can say that we have a number of farmers that have more than 1,000 acres on one location. That's about 425 or more hectares in a single location.
Our first year with SAPIP, it was 31 hectares. Second year, we moved to 253 hectares. And this year, this is the third year with SAPIP, we have moved to 453 hectares. We have grown over 1,000%. Next year, we should do double or triple of what we are doing now. So next year, our projection is to get to 1,253 hectares. Come the following year, we are targeting to get to 2,500 hectares, because we want to make people believe that agri can really work and work very well in Ghana and in the north.
Through SAPIP, I think I'll be able to go on a larger scale, unlike before when I started with 52-acre land of maize. This year, I was able to cultivate 205 acres of maize and soya. So that is what SAPIP has helped me with. They provided inputs. They also provided human resource that supervised what I did on my field, how I did it, to just help me to actually expand, because it's not easy going on a very large scale. You need to have the technical know-how on how machineries are used, how they are done, how they are even acquired. So through SAPIP, we went on mechanized farming.
In the first year, from 200 acres, with SAPIP involvement, we were able to scale up to about 500 acres, including the outgrowers. This year, we've been able to increase our acreages, and we're around 600 hectares. So we're about 1,000 plus, including the outgrowers. Personally, on the nucleus farm, we're around 951 acres. With the outgrowers inclusive, we're about 1,300, 1,400 thereabout. So that's what SAPIP has been able to help us to do.
The 2020 cropping season saw SAPIP upscale to over a quantum leap from 1,341 hectares to 8,148 hectares of cultivated maize and soya fields in 6 regions of the Northern Savannah Ecological Zone, with a total of 76 commercial farmers. This obviously is no more a pilot, but full-blown large-scale commercial agriculture, which the Minister for Food and Agriculture has always dreamed of.
The coordinator was in my office. I was asking him, what is the target for next year? And he said, sir, it's 15,000. I said, why 15,000? Go to 20,000, go to 30,000. What stops you? You know, we have to be ambitious in what we do. The difficult part is over, where you are setting the foundation. You've learned the constraints, the bottlenecks. So once you know how to manage the bottlenecks, go as far as you can.
2 high-performing hybrid maize, Lake and Pioneer 30Y87, with yield potentials of 8 to 10 metric tons respectively, were planted. For soybean, 3 varieties, namely Jenguma, Afayak and Favor, were cultivated with yield potentials ranging from 2.5 metric tons to 3 metric tons.
These are all more than the national averages, because the national average for maize is about 1.9 tons per hectare, and for soybean is less than 1 ton per hectare.
Fertilizers applied were NPK 15-15-15, 20-10-10, blended with 2% magnesium oxide plus 3% sulfur plus 0.3% zinc and urea at recommended rates. Over the years, the project has supported the PFJ with inputs, quality seed, fertilizers and agrochemicals, benefiting over 320,000 farmers nationwide.
And we have over 32,000 outgrowers that these farmers have registered. We gave hybrid seed, we gave fertilizers, we provided other agrochemicals, that's the weedicides and the pesticides, to these farmers to now also support their outgrowers to produce maize and soya in commercial quantities. So we have reached in excess of 62,000 additional farmers, aside those that have benefited from the mainstream fertilizer and seed programs that we have run.
Input delivery is one of the big things that the project is doing. When we started in 2018 with 87 hectares, it wasn't so much of a problem. We moved to 1,341, well, it was quite manageable. But this year we are doing 8,148 hectares. And you can imagine the volume of fertilizer that you have to procure to be able to meet all the demands of the 8,148 hectares. We had to identify holding points across the entire Northern Savannah Ecological Zone, some in Wa, Kintampo, Upper East, and a lot more in the northern region of Ghana. Trucks were delivering to these locations. We had warehouse managers who received these inputs into the warehouse and then did the issuing of the inputs as well.
We are working with research institutions, the Savannah Agric Research Institute, where we are supporting them to produce quality breeder and foundation seed. When we started the government flagship program, Planting for Food and Jobs, we did not have adequate seed to start in 2017. So government had to import seed from neighboring countries, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, and even Nigeria. But Government thinks that Ghana is good enough, has a great potential to produce its own seed. And so SAPIP came on board to support the production of breeder and foundation seed for multiplication to increase productivity of farmers.
An important part of the crop improvement component is the development of the seed laboratories, because seed is everything.
Under SAPIP, we've been taxed every year to produce 500 kilograms, that is half a metric ton of foundation seed, and 200 kilograms of breeder seed to give to farmers, commercial farmers, and all those who are seed producers, and also the seed companies. So it's like pouring petrol onto an already raging fire.
We are bringing modern farm technology, seed technology, fertilizer technology to the smallest of farmers so that we can improve their productivity and through that get them out of poverty as quickly as possible. And the story, as you know, has been one of a booming success. And it's only half the story because according to the latest agricultural census, which was just been launched by the president, there are 3 million farming households in Ghana. Planting for Food and Jobs has reached this year, 2020, 1.5 million farmers beneficiaries. In other words, that half of Ghanaian farmers are now benefiting from this huge subsidy. We are talking about a subsidy which is worth something like $150 million US. This 2020 government has spent just below 1 billion Ghana cedis, which is something like $150 million on subsidies alone to smallholder farmers. And you look in the past 3 years, 2017, 2018, 2020, every year government is spending a minimum of $100 million US subsidizing these 2 inputs alone. And it's never happened in the records of public policy in Ghana where government comes and is able to take the taxpayers' money and give it to support the poorest group of workers who happen to be smallholder farmers in this country.
Ndai ko eka yambrula nuni shabu gan maka bre ai bre shari abunya fata azaba balandu bayi dubata shal gba ampunya pa do bayi ai zana de ponku satra ta shal da ko ama beti yanyin wahala to ama pompon sunsuma ni kanama iko eka yinga ni to dia fata azaba bayi dubata yandela MPK dubayi ammonia zayini mba nopombu yi bamila malas bombuta subutwa babruma bela de ko kacha first tanda but shama bibrla ka shinya fertilizer citizen fertilizer man e ka zayinga man ai konko ai binya kwalam tinano dungongona mo agbandil be kwamdi.
Planting for Food and Jobs the tilada gbang ne Ghana za suto ai tinya ka zabane nangban twene be lo shanga yelmang le yara farambe ne mane gwamnati me yina no tu kula la farama kan tamane nianya watu kula la farama zabla ngunne yakafre sokula mile dalir ngozo Planting for Food and Jobs the kamna ntenga zaba kan ma nangban twene katiti arziki katiti suto kana antiti liabgansam
agric minister opo gbanyala onyang ntamma kan bayang ntabo nyang ma dum obutuma fertilizer ma kan nyang nti nkunyang sonse bombia nyanga umar pugo pam kato sura adu ata bisha tan kwara dirma bugbasa ta jezaji shel onjema kagwa malala sugru shel on marma.
The overarching essence of large-scale commercial agriculture, which is what SAPIP has succeeded in implementing so far, is the fact that if Ghana, and for that matter Africa, must feed itself, then indeed agriculture must not be subsistence, and commercial agriculture thrives when the entire production system works without a single break in the value chain. All the initiatives under crop productivity improvement present opportunities for private sector actors such as market off-takers, poultry feed millers, and other agro-industrial players to partner these farmers in view of the expected increased production from the cutting-edge technologies being promoted under conservation agriculture.
These are difficult times we find ourselves in.
The year 2020 took its place in history with the outbreak of the novel coronavirus pandemic spreading throughout the world, from China's Wuhan in Asia to Europe to America and, of course, Africa. Each continent, each country, each community took a hit and economies came tumbling down. Ghana was not spared the scourge of this deadly virus. This meant a major setback to the gains, successes and progress chalked by the SAPIP project. But SAPIP, through proactivity of its project coordination and management unit, did not sit aloof. SAPIP, in consultation with the African Development Bank, instituted the COVID-19 Special Initiative. SAPIP, through the Mofa district offices, facilitated the mobilization of over 8,000 commercial farmers and outgrowers to support the cultivation of over 10,000 hectares of land to support government's program and policy to be self-sufficient in rice production, given the closure of travel and trade borders among nations as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Every misfortune, they say, comes with an opportunity, and through this COVID-19 special initiative, the country increased rice production for local consumption and self-sufficiency. The project supported this initiative with the provision of inputs, fertilizer and seeds.
They are also supporting us in terms of capacity building for both the farmers and our essential staff. And they are also supporting us to also develop not only the production aspect, but you take production, marketing and processing. If you look at the marketing and processing aspect, we have been able to form a district value chain committee where we have leaders from various sectors within the value chain so as to engineer from production to marketing how we are going to benefit at the end of the day. The district can also boast of one of the largest markets in Upper East, and we usually call it the food basket. SAPIP is also supporting our farmers, especially those into aggregation, processing, those who offtake the rice, for instance, from the fields, the other people, to build their capacity so that at the end of the day, they will create a win-win situation between the farmer and those who are even consuming.
This particular year, where we have experienced COVID-19, we developed a COVID-19 strategy, and that is where we have supported a lot of rice producers. We do know we import a lot of rice from other countries to Ghana, but with COVID-19, many countries are thinking about themselves. And so we have to develop our homegrown strategies to ensure that we produce adequately to feed ourselves. And so areas like Bedemblisi and many other valleys within the districts that we operate, we distributed the seed, we distributed fertilizers, and over 12,000 hectares of land is under cultivation for rice. And with the support that we've given, we believe productivity will also increase. And by that, we will be able to feed ourselves.
Bushfires, though, can be a natural phenomenon and is often a creation of human beings through reckless behavior. Bushfires have been a major setback to the onward march towards conservation agriculture.
As we are here, we've been able to discourage the people from bushfire. That's why you can see that the soil fertility is even so much. And you can see soil being almost at my waist. If we are able to stop bushfire, our cost for cultivation will be less, and then our yields will be higher. And that's what SAPIP, African Development Bank, I praise them so much for bringing this idea of conservation or no-till agriculture, and which we are so fortunate to be part.
As a project that consolidates the gains of previous AFDB investments to optimize infrastructure such as NRGP, infrastructure including the Fufusu Solar Trunk Road, the Techiman Kintampo Road, warehouses and packhouses among others, SAPIP has an infrastructure component for this purpose.
The 4 years of our administration, when I took over in this ministry, there were only 25 warehouses belonging to government with a total capacity of 37,000 metric tons. That's all. But we're able to initiate a program where we are now building 81,000 metric ton capacity warehouses. Most of them have been built. In the next few months, they'll be handed over to me. In one term of a government, from 35,000 metric ton capacity, we've added 80,000 That is the kind of magnitude of transformation that we are talking about. SAPIP also means that you have to install milling capacity. So rice mills, maize mills, to mill paddy rice and so on, but also packaging for retail so that you add more value and create more jobs along the value chain.
When the project started in 2018, the Honorable Minister for Food and Agriculture paid a working visit to some of the fields to see for himself the amount of work that had been done and what needed to be done. The bad nature of the roads reinforced the foresight and thoughtfulness of the minister in ensuring that SAPIP had an infrastructure component to deal with the issue of motorable roads leading to and from farmlands.
The minister visited our farm, he saw the work we were doing, and then on our way back, about 7 cars got stuck, including the minister's V8. So on that, the minister saw that, well, people are really suffering. Because people who feed the nation, assuming that we are harvesting, how do we then transport our things back? Even though his car got stuck and then he couldn't go, he was so excited and he said, no, it means I'm just seeing the things bare. And everybody now testified that we really have to divert our attention to farm roads.
Just 3 years into the SAPIP project implementation, this very road is beginning to see total transformation as it has been awarded on contract.
On behalf of the Honorable Minister for Agriculture, on behalf of Honorable DC, on behalf of the Coordinator for SAPIP, and on behalf of the Director of the Department of Federal Roads, I would like to officially hand over the spot improvement of Sanje to Abimash Farms to you.
These are the type of roads that those of us in agriculture are very much interested in, because opening them up, farmers will be able to cut their inputs to farm. When they produce, they will also be able to cut their produce to the market centers.
This is the current state of the road, a transformation that would leave many doubting if this is the same road that got the minister's entourage stuck 3 years ago. In 2020, the project invested in the cultivation of 34,105.9 hectares of soya, 10,477.66 hectares of rice, 17,951.30 hectares of maize, and for vegetables, 11.6 hectares, making a total of 62,556.46 hectares cultivated. This gives us a picture of what the project has contributed to Ghana's agricultural space annually. A total production of 309,000 metric tons of maize, rice, soya, and vegetables added to Ghana's food basket. SAPIP has made great strides in increasing productivity, created over 60,000 direct jobs and 320,000 indirect jobs. There is significant improvement in farmers' incomes as a result of increased productivity and access to market. The concept of conservation agriculture has been planted in the farming practices of many a Ghanaian farmer. The pool of farm machinery for large-scale commercial agriculture has seen tremendous increment. Ghana, and for that matter, the Savannah Zone, is seeing a seamless linkage among actors of the various value chains, and as in the name of SAPIP, the Savannah Zone has experienced tremendous improvement in agricultural productivity.
My dream is that one day that we turn the whole of the Savannah, which is about 2/3 the size of Ghana, into a thriving agricultural edifice which will feed not only West Africa, but will feed Africa as a whole. And I'm very confident that we can do that.